We're back on Born Before 64 with my guest tonight, Gerald Blumenthal, on location in Houston, Texas. And we were discussing his second book, which is The Monkey Trial, Judgment Day. And you know, Jerry, this book is actually, portion of it is true. Am I correct?
Correct. All my books have a large portion of fact-based material.
Right. Now this had a lot to do with your son-in-law.
Yes, my son-in-law is a lawyer, and he had a very interesting case. In fact, he got a call one Saturday morning from a young lady who wanted to speak to him very urgently, and he was reluctant to meet her in his office, so he elected to meet her in a coffee shop.
Okay.
And the minute he saw her, he knew that she was a call girl.
Ah.
And the story is, and this is true, she was a call girl in Chicago, and she had a boyfriend who gave her many, many gifts, including a Lexus motor car, including an apartment. And when the love side of it fell aside, she decided to leave when she found out that he was already married, and she decided to leave him. Well, he became very angry and said he wants the car back and everything else that he gave her. Well, she said, no, I'm not going to do that because you gave it to me as a gift. And she took off for Houston, actually. And so that part of the story is 100% correct. And then she asked my son-in-law to defend her, which he did admirably, I might say. However, the judge was very biased against her.
And he also had a habit, didn't he?
Yes,
he did. A coke habit.
Yes,
a cocaine habit. And he snorted it?
Yes, he snorted it on the bench in front of everybody. And, of course, everybody was aghast. They just couldn't believe it.
Did they lock him up?
No, they didn't lock him up, but he lost his license to operate. He eventually lost everything. I believe he is working again today, so I'm not going to mention his name. But my son-in-law got a new judge, and he actually won the case. From then onwards, the story takes a little bit of a dishonest twist. Yes,
it takes a twist. So we won't give it up because
chubby checker, we call it.
Yeah, we don't want to do. We don't want to do that. We don't want to give it away because it's really one of these books that you absolutely have to read. It's an easy read. It's 124 pages. We are doing an audio book on it right now. And the cool part about it, Jerry, is that we're doing it with a very famous rock performer named Swan Montgomery. And it's going to have a little twist on the chapters as well. So, you know, this is something that I think there's so many people that are going to e-books and audiobooks today, and this is going to become an MP3 book, which is really hot right now, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And, you know, it's amazing. As a person that is reading the book, the audiobook, every time I read it or I reread the chapters, I find something new to it. And I wonder whatever happened to this woman. Did she go back to that? The one question I have for you is, did she stay in her chosen profession or not?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. But I'll certainly find out for you.
I would have liked to do that because, you know, I think sometimes people want to know whatever happened to her, right?
Right.
That would be
but maybe cool. When the movie comes out,
then we'll have her be, you know, maybe a guest or something.
I should mention that it was Kathryn who put me in touch with a film producer who has optioned for the Brass Compass, right? But we're still waiting for something to happen there, right?
Right. That's for sure. But we want the second book to be optioned, which I think is probably, it's a different kind of a book. It's a different genre from your first book, wouldn't you say?
The first book will be very difficult to film because there's so many different areas of the world that it takes place in Whereas this one would be an easy one to film.
An easy one to
Yes.
film. And you could probably have your son-in-law be a consultant on the film. Wouldn't that be
Oh,
wonderful?
I'd love that.
He would love that. I would love to have him on the show and talk to him about it because, you know, it's interesting for an author when an author's writing and you have to do so much research. This must have been exciting because you were working alongside your son-in-law. Did it
Correct.
make you closer to him?
Yes, he's a very nice guy. He's not your typical lawyer.
Oh, good.
He's a very softly spoken guy. He feels very much for the underdog, and even though we may be on different sides of the government,
Okay.
we're
Politics,
very
you mean?
close. Yeah, politics.
Okay,
yeah.
well, what can I tell you? Anyhow, you know, your children and your in-laws or whatever sometimes don't agree with you on that, but that's what makes life,
Correct.
you know, worth
He's a
living.
good guy.
Right, he's a good guy. So, how long did it take you to write not the Brass Compass, but the Monkey Trial Judgment Day?
Well, that, as you may know, was written in 6 months. I started writing it 6 months before the death of my daughter. Mm-hmm. I knew she was terminal, and I wanted to complete the book before she died.
Right.
And I did. Unfortunately, she never got to see it, but I dedicated it to in her memory.
And that's one of the things that I think Swan did so beautifully was the music that he did for the dedication. I was so impressed. I had tears in my eyes when I was doing it. And, you know, I never got to meet Lolly, but I have to tell you something. Every time, you have to tell the story about the butterfly, because I think that's such a poignant story, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
Go ahead.
The question arises, are you superstitious or not? I'm not really superstitious. However, 2 years before Lolly passed away, I knew that she loved butterflies, and I purchased online this enormous butterfly for outdoor posting, and I nailed it to a tree outside of her dining room, and she could look at it every day. She loved it. And the night that she died, we came back to the house, the butterfly had fallen to the ground. It was such an ominous, hopeless feeling, but it really got to me. Mm-hmm. And butterflies are my thing now.
They're such beautiful creatures, and they're just so, they feel like angels everywhere. And in Cincinnati, at one of our wonderful places in Eden Park, we have a butterfly every year around Christmas time. We have a butterfly exhibit, and you walk through the butterflies. It's absolutely gorgeous. So the next time you come, you'll have to come then, because it's such a neat time. You know, we need to take a short break, and we will be right back with Gerald Blumenthal, and we're going to talk about his third book that's coming out in a series, and we'll be right back.